All right, we're looking good. So greetings, dear Pisces, that's you. This is Tarot Illumination, and this is your general broad spectrum spiritual report, like a heart journey of the heart spread that we use for the November 2018 season. Cards are well shuffled in advance. We'll come back to that in a moment. I just want to give you some astro doodles here to get you through. It adds a little bit of texture, nuances, flavoring, like a side dish. So the thing about what's happening now in November, it's not so much about the huge stresses anymore that we've been dealing with for such a long time. It's about change. Big changes are happening. Okay, I'll just point it out to you. Actually, the really big ones, this is what jumped out to Tarot Illumination. Jupiter's moving into Sagittarius, a whole new journey. For you, that's in your career and destiny section. North Node is moving into Cancer. Okay, it's a 1.5 year journey. It's for everybody, and for you, it's in your 5th house of true love, creativity, self-expression, and so on. We might do playlists on this, we'll see. So let's get on with the main dates. Let's put this aside. Here's what it looks like. And this is just kind of a snapshot for November for you, Pisces. Starting at the very beginning of the month, we have a big fat grand earth trine. It's not on here. It's only fleeting for a few days around November 2nd. And we'll probably get more into that, but it's to do with Saturn, Moon, and Uranus in the signs Capricorn, Virgo, and Taurus. So it's very harmonious and luscious for you coming into the month. Then bammo, we jump straight into the Scorpio new moon over here. That's very harmonious and very strong for you. It's in your 9th house of higher learning, wisdom, greater consciousness, the seeking out of higher levels of being. You're ascending to your destiny, so to speak. So it's really nutritious and fortuitous for you. At the same time, big change, November 7th, roughly, Uranus is flipping retrograde, going back into Aries. Okay, so that could be a bit of a weird action replay of the last 7 years for the next 3 months that you're going to have to live through. Okay, it's affecting your value and values here in the 2nd house. And at the same time, the North Node is moving into Cancer, November 7th, roughly. A huge shift for the whole planet. For you, it's in your 5th house of true love. Dun, 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 dun. And creative self-expression, risk-taking, fun, happiness, and joy. 5th house over there, okay? Let's move through the calendar. Next up, we have around November 10th, the big shift. Over here, Jupiter moves into Sagittarius. For you, this is in your 10th house of career, destiny, your place in this world. Oh my gosh, what does that mean for you? Oh no, okay. But anyway, it's big changes. The planet of good fortune is landing in that spot for you. So you're very lucky, Pisces. We'll see what happens over the next year. It's a 1-year transit, roughly. Moving on, November 17th, Mars moves into Pisces. It's nonstop for you, Pisces, okay? This is going to go through the whole month and beyond. It's going to activate, stimulate, aggravate, and cause friction, drive, combat, conflict, the desire to achieve and prevail and act first and think later. So be very careful with this energy, Pisces. It could be very stimulating to perhaps overstimulating, okay? Moving on, November 22nd, the sun moves into Sagittarius, amplifying your destiny, your career, your place in this world with the Jupiter. And the day after, roughly, November 23rd, we have the full moon in Gemini. We've already moved out of Scorpio into Sagittarius energy by now, and this full moon is potentially very conflicting for you. It's just for you, okay, Pisces? It's a Sagittarius Gemini full moon, and it's in a hard square to the Pisces energy. So I'm just letting you know. So you're talking about the foundations of your life, your home, your sense of family security, as opposed to your career and destiny out there in the world. What's going on with you in this aspect of your life, okay? So pay attention towards the end of the month, okay, Pisces? All right, let's just get on with it. We'll just leave all this. That took a long time. I'm sorry about that, but we're just gonna roll with it. Cards are well shuffled in advance. No jumpers, no flyers, no oracles, no reversals. Not enough time. We're just going to use the basic Rider-Waite universal for this, just to keep it as simple as possible. It's hard enough to do this without all the fancy stuff. So please, Pisces, invite your significant invisible friends. Also, while you're here, if you've got the time, please indulge Tarot Illumination and check out the links below for membership. for First Friday healing events, and all the other goodies that come with Tarot Illumination, okay? It's all in the description box below in case you do action replays, rewinds of this video. Also, it really helps if you know the routine. You've been here before. Watch for your sun, moon, and rising, the three dominant aspects right now for most people, and reinterpret to suit you. Depending on how things work for you, you'll have to do that. Tarot Illumination can't do that for you. All right? And then squish it all together into one story that works for you. And then hold on tight at the end of the month. All right? All right, cards are well shuffled. Bless you, Pisces, for being here. Bless this deck. Bless Tarot Illumination. Bless the platform altogether and all the gadgets and electricity that help all this to work between us. Cards are cut. Bring in your invisible friends, please. This is the heart and soul of you. Your heart needs what it needs. It wants what it wants. And it's constantly looking and waiting and hoping for you to become as closely in alignment with the heart as possible. You might be the most amazing genius, with all your faculties, whatever they might be. All your chakras are buzzing away, but if this one's out of alignment, it doesn't matter about the rest of them. Seriously, this is what counts. That's why we focus on this so much here at Tarot Illumination. Love is as love does. And we think of it as action. We're trying to get you to learn how to love thyself more and more and more every day. What are you bringing in with you? This is legacy energy. What are you carrying from the past? Let's pretend you're in a meeting. What's in your pockets? What's in your briefcase? What's going on with you, Pisces? What are you carrying? Over here is the ever-present now. This is where we own our power. This is where a lot of us don't like to be, because sometimes it means we have to be brutally honest and clear and aware. We have to be totally grounded, present, and conscious and here. Sometimes that's very uncomfortable. A lot of us prefer to lean on the past or project into the future. Anything to avoid the now, but it is in the now where we own our power. We execute and express our power through the activation of our decisions. What is the most loving decision you can do at that time? To love thyself. That's the most important thing you can do, and from there translate that into how that affects your fuller being, your world around you, your significant others. How do you do that effectively? So this is actually like a formula, and it actually works, okay? So you realize this is like a pump. Like the heart is a pump, and this is a living thing. Think of this as a journey, a living, pulsing thing. And in so doing, we create consequence so that you're not a victim in life. You're not living on complete autopilot, driven by fears and reactions and conditioning from your heritage, your past, your childhood, or all your traumas in life. But instead, you're owning everything, and you're making conscious, deliberate decisions. Okay, now what does that look like when you're losing it, when you're wigging out and you don't have it all together? Okay, what does that look like when you do have it all together and you are living very much in the present and loving thyself first and foremost? Over here, let's say outcomes, prospects for the next beat. I'm hoping you can see this. Please indulge Tarot Illumination. Please see this as a heart, okay? And it is a pulsing, beating thing. All the nutrients being pumped to where they need to go, all the waste products being removed, sent to where they need to go, so that you can live on. Heal thyself by loving thyself. Okay? So we're going to look at circumstantial energy. Think of it as the weather. And we have the Ace of Cups. It's truly flowing for you, Pisces. The question is, can you handle it? Are the gates open? Are you ready, willing, and able to receive this love? It's out there. You're surrounded by love. You're swimming in it. The question is, are you aware? Have you heard that little saying? It's in this book written by Tarot Illumination. Hopefully it'll be out sometime in 2019. This is the cover, the sample design cover for the book. It's called Love and Healing, a little book about the healing power of love. And one of the things we have in there is a little story about a fish in a coral reef, and how a scuba diver comes up to the fish. And it's all very beautiful. It's underwater like a Disney movie or a special effects, amazing nature, National Geographic movie or something. And the fish goes up to the scuba diver and says, excuse me, I've seen one of you before. I was going to ask, can you tell me? I've been itching to know, what is this thing called water? And the scuba diver goes, you're swimming in it. You're surrounded by it. And the fish goes, huh? So hey, that's what I'm sort of trying to feel over here with the Ace of Cups. This wouldn't be here unless you deserved it. Everything is out there for you. This is symbolic of the healing power of love, being able to fill your life from up above. Are you aware? That's the question, Pisces. Let's have a look. What's the heart saying here? Okay, well, maybe you're not so aware. Maybe you're swimming in it. Maybe the current is so strong. Sometimes, even if you are like some sort of advanced guru or or like you're a healer, or if you are a student, a mom, a dad, an entrepreneur, whatever it is, and you're swimming in these currents, and the currents are rapidly shifting and changing, just like on those like crazy canoe trips, and then everything kind of goes, wait a minute, whoa, what's that? It feels to me over here with the Seven of Cups that the heart is at the verges of not being able to cope with all of this. And the heart probably doesn't even have the ability or language to even reach out or express to you what's going on, because it's disorienting. Some of the things that we talked about in that astro doodle are actually can be quite disorienting. I don't see it as heavily stressful, but just more like disorienting, especially towards the end of the month. And so the heart might be like at the core of you might be getting a little bit overwhelmed by the currents and the energies, wondering what to do with it all. Like sometimes not even being able to understand, what is this love thing? What are we talking about here? And then let's say you do get a glimpse. Let's say you get a spontaneous light bulb moment and you do get a glimpse into heaven and you see what it looks like and you kind of go, oh my gosh, all has been revealed. The veil has been lifted. There's nothing between you and heaven. You, Pisces, have a direct contact with heaven. And the question is, it can be so dazzling and disorienting, is what do you do with that? It can affect you to the very core of your being. So it's so important, I think, with this kind of energy that we're seeing here, to do whatever you have to do to become very grounded as we start this new journey. Coming out of November into December is going to be a big shift, change in energy. How does this look for you? What are you bringing in with you? Okay. Well, with the Four of Swords here, maybe you're already aware that you need to, let's say, just switch off. Okay. Now that might be quite hard because with Mars in Pisces heading that way fairly soon, okay, let's just say you're coming into the month with this. You're coming in, let's say, pretty wiped out and let's say disoriented, knowing all the good stuff that we've been talking about, understanding all these things in principle about, how to invoke the healing power of love into your life from up above, but putting that into practice is a whole other thing. And my feeling here is that you've already been trying and doing your best, but the reality is you've had to either deliberately disconnect or detach, or you've almost been forced into a state of sequestration and detachment, especially even including in love and relationships. This is not a love relationship reading. That's a whole other playlist. So it might be coming in here like, it's almost like saying, Terra Illumination, I'm already doing the best I can. I'm doing my self-healing. I'm doing my self-love. Love thyself. I'm meditating. I'm doing all that stuff already, Terra Illumination. And. Okay, so over here, what about the now? Okay, the Queen of Pentacles. So I feel that the energy of a big question is growing and growing here, where I feel this sense of overwhelm for Pisces. It's very beautiful because you have so much of this around you, like you're swimming in such delicious circumstances, environments, and energies for you. The question is understanding it, figuring it out, how to handle it, even going to your deepest depths of self-healing to do that. And then coming into the present moment here now, realizing, yes, I do have so much. I am getting a glimpse of it. I do understand the physical manifestations of this concept of so-called love thyself. But the reality is not really knowing quite sure what to do with it all, because sometimes it's like, when people are abundant and they have so much, but they haven't, let's say, been trained or conditioned or ever learned or had an experience with so much love and abundance, it can actually be a problem Just imagine you win a lottery, okay? You know, $50 million, $100 million, or whatever your national currency is. I mean, it sounds cool at first, but it actually can turn into a real nightmare. Like, what do you do with all this stuff? All of a sudden, like, oh my God, you get paranoid. What am I supposed to do? Terra Illumination knew a banker whose sole practice was handling uh, windfall clients. And the banker had so many tragic stories that most of the clients who ended up in windfalls with so much abundance uh, uh, really came unglued because they had it all went to their heads and they started making lots of silly mistakes, ending up worse off than they were before. So, with the Queen of Pentacles here, Pisces, what I'm sensing overall is a flow of you becoming very aware that you're going through a big shift and change, that you're coming in as best you can, having done as much work on the self as possible, and realizing that you do have the abundance, you do have the evidence of love, you have this like tokens, things that you own, like wealth. And the question is, what do we do with it all? So let's find out. Let's have a look when we go into our energy of healing decisions over here. The Hanged Man. Okay, I'm getting more sense of basically getting wigged out here. My feeling is that this will become much more apparent towards the end of the month, depending on how you're made, Pisces. But in general, what I'm sensing is that right towards the end of the month, when we have these big shifts in energy, the Sagittarius energy, and it's opposed by the full moon around the 24th, I think it was. We have to accept and understand already heading into the month that these changes are inevitable, and it's a question of how you're going to handle it. So pretend you're like doing your kayaking thing on this amazing National Geographic, you know, open river kayak thing, and you were advised or informed beforehand that things are going to get really kind of weird and big shifts and changes are going to happen later on. It's important to know that when you're making your decisions, as opposed to just going blind, thinking, "Oh, I can handle this. I can handle this. I've already done all the work on myself. I'm loaded. I'm absolutely loaded." The heart is saying, "Please, please, please." It's very easy to get discombobulated here, and get swept up in the currents and end up like tipping over, crashing out. So with the Hanged Man here, my feeling is to make decisions knowing that things are going to get disorienting at the end of the month. There's going to be inevitable shifts and changes for you. And as bountiful as they are, because of all the juicy Jupiter stuff, it's still going to be so disorienting that you need to be prepared in advance. So how do you do this effectively? Okay, you take all your assets and gifts and talents and you walk away from anything and everything that does not work and you reinvest in anything and everything that does work. In other words, you kind of bring down the energy of heaven into a down-to-earth, substantial, understandable format. So it isn't just a Terra Illumination concept or a nice story that we're watching on the channel here. It's actually about taking the healing power of love, invoking it, bringing it into your life above, doing everything that you've already could do already, understanding and taking a good, clear look at the wealth and abundance and gifts and talents that you do have, figuring out what you're going to do with it because it's going to change how you're going to love thyself and move into this new chapter. You could almost think of it as a beginning of a whole new year cycle for you because the Mars in Pisces coming and the big shift with Jupiter and the North Node shift, it's a big shift for everyone. So my feeling here with your story for this little reading here for you Pisces is to make the decision to deliberately walk away from anything and everything that does not work in three-dimensional aspects, having made a decent appraisal of your realities, and then reinvesting all your energies and talents, gifts, and resources into what does work. Again, being very, very cautious, very astute, very careful, and very responsible. Okay, you can't afford to waste any of your talents in this situation here. You have so much, so please conduct yourself like a very, very responsible farmer who's come away and home from the wars and just wants to settle down and have a good, solid, stable life. Okay, forget the wars. You've been through enough. Okay, so in so doing, we create consequence. Okay, What happens then, if you do this, you see this as a formula of how to grapple with the big shifts and changes coming ahead, and you do it in a very responsible way like this, knowing that you're going to get wigged out in the process. What happens is you put yourself in a position of let's say, power, of where you own the power, where you realize, oh my gosh, it's true. It isn't just a story. I actually do have all the resources, gifts, and talents I need around me. I've got big heart energy, big inspiration, big passion, drive, and ambition, and great talents. And it's all there for me. And you realize you and you alone have the power to execute all this power. Okay, so we have to be very, very careful what you're doing with your power. The Mars and Pisces thing might, again, overstimulate you, overactivate you. So with great power comes great responsibility. Okay, don't forget that. Okay, Pisces, you should be okay. All right, let's have a look. What happens if you slip up and you actually do, let's say, fall out of your kayak, or you get tipped over and you do one of those big kayak rollovers and you get surrounded in the rapids and bubbles, then you have to upright yourself again with your, weird paddle thing. What does that look like when you lose it? Kerboom, kerplash, splash, and kerblam. Yeah, everything goes haywire. So on the other hand, the beauty of this is that, let's just say you keep it together, you anchor yourself in what works. You just basically, you could reach out and say, I ask for divine guidance to come to me. I ask to be inspired. I ask to be in my power. I ask for that guidance to come to me through my dreams, through inspiration, and I will translate that into an effective 3D reality. What does that look like? It looks like almost like an obliteration of whatever you've known before and how to operate, and something new begins, and something amazing can be reconstructed out of the rubble. Okay, so what about prospects and momentum going forward from here? You come out of the rapids. You come out of the rapids of the big shift and changes in November, and you take a deep, deep breath. It might have been very disorienting and wobbly, and you get to have a new start, a new look as you come into December, and you start to see a whole new landscape unfolding in front of you. And the question is, what do I do now? Wow. November could be very tumultuous in a beautiful way, but very disorienting and very tumultuous for you, okay? The Scorpio Earth energy stuff could be really juicy, but that big shift into the Sagittarius Pisces thing right at the end, going through into December, excuse me, blinding lights here. Okay, that was, let's just say that was absolutely perfectly planned and orchestrated by Tarot Lumination, just for special effects. We can thank the backstage crew for that. Okay, so it's kind of a spectacular way to end the whole reading for you. Thank you so much, and I hope you get something out of this. Please, 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 check in with Tarot Lumination if you need anything. Check out the links below. Please become a member. It really, really helps. It's your way of saying thank you. And please join us for the first Friday of the month group healing events, okay? Thank you so much. Bye-bye, Pisces. Wow, that's spectacular. Bye-bye.